The design process. So this is what the design process looks like for a real project. So the design situation, why am I actually creating this project? Well, basically, I've got these two remotes that always get lost, and I was really getting frustrated with, them falling behind the couch, or I couldn't find them. So I wanted a way to keep them safe, but also keep them accessible and pretty close to the TV. So that's the design situation. That was the problem that I had. I then need to analyze the need. Alright, so what I wanted in this project was to create a space that will pretty much hold those two remote controls safe and keep them within easy reaching distance whenever I needed them. So then I go and I establish the criteria. So the criteria is we need to hold both those remote controls. It also must be easily accessible, but also, you don't want it on the middle of the table or anything like that. So it kind of has to be tucked out of the way. It has to have the correct measurements that hold the remote controls properly, and it also must be 3D printed. So that was the criteria that I set out for this project. I then had to go and research some different ideas. So I was looking on the internet for some ideas. None really gave me exactly what I needed, so I had to come up with my own idea. But these are some of the ideas that I got inspiration from. So I thought a side-by-side system would be pretty good, and I thought some kind of sleek and slim version of the holder would actually work. So now that I've got an idea in mind, I had to come up with some sketches on how I actually wanted this to work, and I also had to list the positives and negatives about each of those designs. So the first design was more like a curved kind of a caddy, and it wouldn't be wall mounted, it will be stuck on the table. It had a nice curved design, but I didn't really like it that much because I couldn't hang it off the side of the wall. I then came up with an idea which is a dual remote caddy, and this is basically the remote side by side. It does have an option to be able to be wall mounted, and I really like that feature. And this third idea, which is the side by side system, this was another good system that could hang off the wall, which had support for that as well. But I found that the remote controls were actually too wide, and I thought that this was going to come off the wall too much. So I had to go and pick the best idea, and so the best idea that I chose was this side by side system. So once I've done that, then I need to go and actually make the thing. So I went and designed it in Fusion 360, and I got the right measurements, and I took my time in finding how to actually do each of the components, and I came up with something like this. And so when I put it on the side of my coffee table, I attached it to the leg of the table, and now it does its job. And so what I set out at the start of the project, I actually met those needs, and I successfully completed the project. We then get into the evaluation. So the final stage, does it work? Yes, it holds both remote controls and it keeps them fairly secure. Then the next question you have to ask is, does it meet the needs set out during the first stages of the design process? And I can say that yes, it does meet those needs because it holds those two remotes nicely, and I can hang it off the side of the table. Now, are there any improvements that I need to do with this project? The only issue that I have is if the TV remotes change for some reason and I perhaps get a new TV or something like that, the holder might not be able to hold the new remote, and that's the only drawback. But anyways, as you can see, I've went through all the steps of the design process, and you can see how we started off with a problem and we solved the problem, and we finally got to the last stages, which is evaluation and testing out the evaluation. Anyways, I hope you learned something, and I will see you next time.